Glad to have you back. President Bola Tinubu has reassured international economic communities and Nigerians that there will be no stone left unturned in his administration's multifarious efforts to stimulate the economy and make it work for the greatest good of all Nigerians. He has recently secured landmark deals with the United Arab Emirates, while the visa ban on Nigerians has also been lifted. Also, he secured a commitment of $14 billion from investors during the Nigerian-India Presidential Roundtable and Conference in New Delhi. The president told prospective investors that Nigeria is a country. He is here to talk more around this. Mr. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much as well.
Yeah, I see this drive by President Bola Tinubu, and sincerely, I know you're seeing that too. It didn't used to be like this. Nigeria everywhere in the world saying, bring your money here. This is the place to invest. The likes of Tony Elumelu were also on that team and were telling that Nigeria is the best place to invest in. Do you agree to that? And what more are you expecting from this handshake between Nigeria and, of course, the global entity?
Absolutely, I agree. And I think one good thing that President Tinubu really did on that trip was to carry along the major investors in the Nigerian economy. Talking about, you just mentioned Tony Elumelu, and we had also on that trip Dangote, also on that trip, and some other top. It not starts to trickle in this year, but I see those investments flying in from like 2024 onward.
That is where I'm headed. What are those things we need to put together? What should we be discussing around the table? What should the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment? What should Mr. Wale Edun, Minister of Coordinating the Economy and Finance, what should they be telling these investors to support what President Tinubu has kickstarted?
I think the first thing is for all these ministers that you have mentioned, the first thing I believe they should do is to ensure they sustain the collaboration among themselves, speaking about the coordinating minister of the economy and the minister of finance, the minister of investment, the minister of foreign affairs, and also the minister of steel in this case. So there should be that collaboration. It should be maintained to see all these investments go through. The second element to my mind is around the regulatory environment. We should ensure that regulation in the country is friendly in the key sectors that these foreign investors are coming into investing. No doubt that the existing major investors in the economy, talking about the local investors in this case, are familiar with Nigeria's regulation. And I want to believe that they also had to learn about it over time. So we should make our regulation in the key industries to be friendly to foreign investors. Investing in the country should be a lot seamless in terms of regulation. The third element to my mind is around ensuring them of security. Security is very important. I have little or no conviction that foreign investors will be willing to take the risk to invest in your country if security is weak, or if there are no signals that security situation is going to improve over time. I think those are some of the key starting points. Taxation is another key element for consideration. Nigeria should be open to the foreign investors around what are the relevant taxes that will apply, and possibly if there will be a need for them to give them some incentives, those incentives should be clearly spelled out so that both parties understand where and what they are expected to do at every point in time over the horizon of the investment plan. Then we begin to expect the inflows. I think these are some of the key elements that the ministers should put in consideration when they continue to collaborate to ensure those investments really flow into the country.
Sounds good. And it takes me back to ease of doing business initiatives that we had even before now. I'm thinking not all bad, some positives from all of the moves that were made the other time to try to streamline businesses, ease of access, CAC, and all of that. We saw what was happening at that point. But many say more still needs to be done. What are you thinking about the civil service structure? Some say the ministers could have the private sector driven mind, but how do you think everybody can follow suit and make sure that no file stays more than necessary on any table? Mr. Tajudi, you know what I'm talking about.
I absolutely understand, and I think we have high quality ministers among those that have been appointed by the president. Largely speaking, there is at least one or two of them that I have worked with, in my career, and I expect that they will bring to the table, they will bring to those to those
Ministries.
sectors,
Yeah.
to those ministries. That's the right word, to those ministries where there are ministers to implement, corporate ideas, corporate ways and strategies of doing things to achieve the desired goals. It comes with a lot of determination, it comes with a lot of plans, and it comes with the dedication to really make an impactful change in those ministries. It will require some level of training, and I would expect that the relevant civil servants will be trained accordingly to understand the urgency in service delivery, to understand the fact that you have to satisfy your customer, you put the customers first. Nigerians, the public as we speak, are the customers in this case, and the civil servants in this case those that we are dealing with. So they should put us first and ensure that they deliver the right level of service to the public, to all Nigerians. Let us take the Ministry of Interior, for instance. We have begun to hear positive news flows around, passports, that, passports are now sort of getting ready at a more rapid rate compared to what we had previously. That is an indication of the injection of corporate ideas, corporate strategy into that.
The president will be attending the United Nations General Assembly. And of course, he is even billed to ring the closing bell at NASDAQ. That to me is also another plus. We reported that here, and all of that. So what are you thinking also with our relationship, not only with America, but with other countries? It seems that confidence is gradually coming back. I don't know. You're more in the market than I am. I'm just a journalist.
Absolutely, that confidence is going to come in, and the confidence, to my mind, is going to strengthen further over time. Nigeria, is not the only country in Africa, but of course, we are the largest country in terms of, the population. We are the largest country in terms of where do we have the most compelling and the most promising outlook in terms of, consumers across different ages. Nigeria is that destination. Let me give you one very simple example. We have one of the investors that have promised to invest in Nigeria, the Jindal Steel company in this case, that plans to invest $3 billion in Nigeria. Let me tell you that that number is way more than what they have planned to invest in the South African mining industry. Their plan is to invest $2 billion in South Africa, and they have announced $3 billion in Nigeria because they understand the potential of the country, they understand the growth outlook, they understand the demography and the impact it has on the outlook for growth for businesses. So being in the US, by the president is another, move in the right direction. And I would expect that, more inflows, more investment promises will be announced, via that trip on the foreign direct investment leg. On the foreign portfolio investment leg, I would also expect, some announcements. There should be some interest by foreign investors on the portfolio side to also, want to come back to Nigeria. But the only thing we need to be able to address and articulate on that trip is our foreign currency, policy, and also our foreign currency markets. So I think those will be crucial, on the trip to the US at the United Nations.
Before I let you go, I know you touched on it, saying that this will not immediately translate to Naira and Kobo, but I'm interested in how soon it will begin to translate to Naira and Kobo. Can we wrap up with that?
So absolutely we can. And I think the only ones that may take a bit of time, for instance, is the Jindal Steel investment of $3 billion. I think we could begin to look at from 2024 before that, begins to flow in. There is another element, in that list, which is Bati. Bati has invested well over $4 billion in Nigeria. And, planning to invest additional $700 million is something that is going to materialize from between now and the next, 12 months, largely because that is the vehicle or the parent company of Airtel Nigeria. They have invested well over $4 billion since inception of their business in Nigeria, and they want to invest more, around $700 million on 5G network expansion. There are a couple of us Nigerians these days that enjoy 5G services, and one would expect that they accelerate that investment process. From next year, those investments will begin to come in my view.
Beautiful stuff, as usual. An interesting chat. Mr. Tajuddin Ibrahim is the Director of Research and Strategy. He's with Chapel Hill, Denham. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day.